Since 2008, former Guam resident Patrick Silverio and his wife Jean have traveled to Boston to participate in the famous Boston Marathon.
The day was perfect. Temperatures were perfect.
That perfect day, however, turned tragic as two bombs went off at the finish line, killing at least 3 people and injuring over 140 others. Silverio finished his 6th consecutive race an hour before the explosion and was at a nearby restaurant when he heard the news.
Well, it is a tragedy. It's obviously very unexpected. The festive atmosphere, changed totally. By the time we came out of the restaurant, you could really feel how surreal and how somber it was.
And for former Guam resident Ryan Guy, he was at the race supporting his friend Nicole at the 18-mile mark. Fortunately, he was not injured nor nearby the explosion.
And I think everyone is not only shocked but really angered that someone would do this. Not only at one of the things that Boston is famous for, the oldest marathon in the country, but also on a celebratory day like Patriots Day.
Guy is in Boston as a member of the New England Revolution, an American professional soccer club based in Foxborough, Massachusetts. He is also a member of the Guam national soccer team. And while his friend Nicole went unharmed, her father, John Odom, didn't fare as well.
Apparently blown from behind and got seriously injured. He was in surgery for quite a while, and it still hasn't been confirmed with us whether he's out of surgery yet, but apparently it was something crazy, like 20 surgeons working on him.
And for former Dedito resident John Guamanians, he said the shocking turn of events from today were just as tragic inside, as many of the injured were transported to several hospitals nearby.
After we found out, many of us mobilized right away and tried to contact the emergency room and see how we could help.
Guamanians is a third-year medical student attending Harvard Medical School and is completing his pediatrics rotations at Massachusetts General Hospital, where some of the first victims were transported.
Many actually were directly brought to the operating room because they just experienced so much damage and injuries that many of them had to undergo amputations of limbs and extremities. And then you have other patients who are not as critical, but they also receive a fair amount of injury, many lacerations, bruises, and a whole mix of different types of injury.
Guamanians adds security efforts at Mass General have been tight, with police checking IDs and limiting the number of people going into the hospital. Meanwhile, former Agate resident Sahara Defensor has been in Boston for the last 8 months, attending law school.
From what we understand, everybody's just told to remain indoors. There was a lockdown earlier on the streets. If people were inside buildings, they weren't permitting anybody to go in.
Defensor was on a train with 2 other Guam residents about a mile away when the explosions took place. She says that train ride suddenly stopped, with passengers asked to step off.
It occurred, it occurred on Boylston Street, and I was on Newberry Street, which is like parallel to the blast. And so when I looked in, it was very chaotic, ridiculously chaotic. I've never seen a site like that with massive emergency personnel all over.
Defensor adds the scene around Boston is solemn, with the sounds of sirens and police cars ringing throughout the street. And as Boston and the rest of the nation mourn in this tragedy, Guamanians says Bostonians have come together, from people letting each other borrow their cell phones to others simply checking on how everyone is doing.
I think the huge message, though, is like how quickly the Boston community was able to respond to this event, and not just the emergency EMT and doctors, but like the whole community.
There's no word on a motive or who is behind the Boston bombings. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Ken Quintanilla.